Hey, Girl Talk family, it's your host Charlene, and today we have in studio Miss Tanya. Tanya Muhammad is the owner of Little Critters 24-Hour Daycare. She's an author of a great new book called Daycare Chronicles 101. She's also a very talented speaker. Tanya's coming to us today to share her story of transition. So, let's get started. Well, Miss Tanya, thank you so much for coming in to Girl Talk. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a little while. We've been trying to catch up with you. You're a
Yes,
busy
ma'am.
lady.
Yes, ma'am.
But we made it happen.
Yes, we did.
Thank you so much for being here. Now, I want to get right into the questions because you got a lot going on. You got a lot going on, and you have a lot of information, I think, that the Girl Talk community really should know, because you're a woman who not only has a completely successful business, but you also created another business and you're transcending into that business. So
Yes, ma'am.
let's get started.
Yeah, let's get started.
Okay. So now your daycare center,
Yes.
right? It's called Little Critters, right? And it's
Yes.
24 hours.
Little Critters 24-hour family daycare.
Wow.
Yes.
And so how long have you been in business?
I've been in business for 29 years in my home, caring for the children in the community.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
Now, what made you get started? What made you say, I want to be a daycare provider?
Well, I was having my second child, and I didn't want to have to go back to work.
Okay.
And so I had a wonderful daycare provider for my daughter. And I just thought, I said, I could do this. And I did.
Wow. Now, when you started out, how many children did you start out with?
I was really, really blessed from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
I started off with 2 families. And within the families, there were like sisters and grandmothers. They had like 4 children. So I immediately had like my 6 children. I had another client that had 2 children. So I immediately had the 6 children, which I was licensed for at the time, as soon as I opened.
That's so great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so now I know that there's different phases of, building out a daycare to where it's, you have more children and more hours and all of that. And so that process you go through to get to that level, how long did that take you to get to where you are now as far as the number of children? How many children do you provide for?
I'm a 24-hour facility, so I can have up to 14 children at one time.
Oh, wow.
But if I have children throughout the 24 hours, it could be up to 30 children a day. It just depends.
It depends.
Yes. As long as there's no more than 14 at one time and you meet all of their requirements in between that as well, with the age groups and all of that. It took me about a year. After a year, you're able to get licensed for 12 to 14. So after a year of being in business, then I was licensed for large. I was a small family daycare at first. Then I went to a large family daycare. And it's just been what it is ever since.
Wow. Now, as being a daycare provider, I know you run into a lot of personalities. A lot of different personalities.
Yes.
And so for someone who is looking at becoming a daycare provider, or someone who is in daycare providing, they just got started, what is a piece of advice you would give them in dealing with all of the different personalities that you can run into?
One, you have to stay prayed up. You have to. The second thing would be is that if you're not a people person, if you're not a lover of children, then this isn't the profession for you.
I love that, yes. Yeah.
If you don't have patience, this is not the profession for you.
Okay.
You must have some patience there. And not only do you have, say if you have 10 children, you have the 10 children with different personalities, but then you have 10 parents with different personalities. So you're dealing with 20 different personalities a day, including whatever you may have yourself. So it's all about the love and understanding what we're really doing as providers.
Yes.
We are changing the game. We are changing lives. We are rearing children. We are rearing children for the future. We are educating them as well as their parents.
That's very true. And you're catching them at the most tender age.
Yes.
Before they start formal school.
Absolutely.
So you have them as babies until they're but 4 or 5 years old,
yes,
they are totally in your care.
These are the formative years.
The real formative years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I'm glad you said that because, longevity in the daycare industry is not necessarily the norm. People get in, they think about that, and they jump out and out and out. And so for you to have been in business for 29 years means that, number one, you knew what you were doing. Number two, you had all those qualities that you described.
Yes, ma'am.
But also that people bought into your brand because you were so good at it.
Yes.
Because it's a referral business.
Well, I will say this. When I started, I was 21.
Okay.
23. I was 23 when I started.
Mm-hmm.
I would have parents come to the door and be like, okay, where's Miss Tanya? I'm Miss Tanya.
Right.
They thought I still looked like a little girl.
Right.
But because of the conversation, because of the content, because of what they saw in my home, because of the love that they saw, because of just the warmth that they felt when they came in, I was able to be trustworthy.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I always tell parents, go with your gut feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be trustworthy to be in this business. The liability of a daycare provider is so great.
Yes.
It's so great. And that's the problem with having assistants. Mm-hmm. You may have an assistant and they may not understand the liability of, no, you can't change a diaper like that, or no, this door needs to be closed at this time. And they're trying to figure out, well, why do I have to cut the food up this way? It's all a liability. There's reasons why.
Right, right.
We have to protect ourselves at all times as well as the children.
Mm-hmm.
Daycare is, a lot of people get into it thinking it's easy.
Right.
And so that's where the longevity thing comes in. Because if it's not really in your heart, then it probably won't last that long.
Right.
You'll get frustrated, you'll get tired, And providers have to know too, as well as parents, you have to know your tolerance.
Right.
You have to know, if you're not a person that can deal with a baby crying all day, then why would you accept babies that are crying all day?
Right.
If you're not someone that can't deal with toddlers moving around all the time and you don't want to chase after them, then that's not an age group that you need to keep.
Right.
So you have to know what's going to work for you as well. And a lot of people get into it just for the money, and they think that it's easy. And then 6 months down the line, they're like, "Oh Lord, this is not what I thought it was."
Right, and shut down, on to the next thing.
You're right.
Right, and then you have all these children and families hanging in the balance, scrambling, looking for the next provider.
Absolutely.
Wow. Now, when you started, did you have a coach or a mentor, people who helped you and guided you along the way?
Well, I did have a friend that kept my daughter. So she was a really good provider. So I was able to see how she interacted with the children. But it was the resource and referral agency we have, Crystal Stairs.
Crystal Stairs, yes.
So Crystal Stairs, I've been a part of them for 29 years. And I befriended a lady in the resource and referral department.
Okay.
And she became my mentor.
Got it.
Because I really didn't know how it all was supposed to play out. And she was like, "Baby, you got to answer the phone like this." When she would call, she would refer people to me. And so that's how I was able to get the families that I got. And then I ended up keeping her grandchildren. Wow. But Crystal Stairs has just been a godsend to the providers, really, really have. It's subsidized child care for the most part. But these are the parents that need us,
Right.
And the parents that may not be able to afford daycare. So then they have resource and referral. They have different programs that you can, as a provider, you can get help with. They have a lending library. They have all these wonderful things to help you be successful. So as a 23-year-old coming into this, they were just a godsend to me.
Right, because they are the support system
Yes.
that you need to be successful.
Yes.
As long as you adhere to their rules and
Yes.
regulations.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, Daycare Chronicles 101.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? I love
Thank
your
you.
Instagram, your podcast. It's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you so much.
And I think I love it so much. I was thinking about this last night when I was talking to you. I think one of the reasons I love it so much is that with your personality, you are teaching
Yes.
both providers and parents.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're doing it in a way that is palatable. It's very easy to get the information
Yes, ma'am.
and learn because it's in a non-threatening way.
Yes.
It's just entertaining.
Yes.
And informative, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Entertaining and informative. So those are elements that everyone doesn't have, and you do it so well. You do.
Well, thank you.
Now, how did you come up with that name?
Honestly, I was in my backyard, and it just came to me.
Wow.
It just came to me. After doing daycare for so long, I want to be able to reach, more providers, and helping other women along the years. And everyone calls Miss Tanya for everything. And so it's like, you know what? Let me try this out. And it just came to me. Okay. Daycare Chronicles 101. And I was like, that's it.
Okay.
Right there.
And so now you come up with this name, and you want to help people more, because this is going to be really helpful for our community, for the Girl Talk community. So you come up with this name.
Yes.
Daycare Chronicles 101. When did you decide, okay, I want to do something with this, and I want to do it this way?
Immediately.
Immediately? Okay.
It was a thought that I had, and I am a firm believer that any thought that you have comes from God.
Yes.
So he gave me the idea, the thought, Daycare Chronicles 101. And I was already looking to branch out a little more. And I'm like, Instagram, Facebook, and I'm 52. I wasn't really into the social media thing, but I've gotten into it.
Yes, you have.
Because I see that this is the way that the world is going. So you have to keep up with the modern times.
Have to.
You have to keep up with the modern times. So my first few that I have done, if you go back and you watch them, I've done almost 200 of the Chronicles.
Yes.
And the first few are just kind of choppy a little bit, but I, getting my feet wet. But I started immediately. My first Chronicle was done the 26th of January.
Wow. So it's been a year.
Yeah.
It's been
a year.
Exactly.
Exactly a year.
Wow.
Exactly a year. Was my first Chronicle.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Now, what kind of feedback do you get? Because I myself, I'm not only tickled, but I'm informed, and I share them with people.
Thank you so much.
And I tell people, you gotta listen. You gotta listen, whether they have children or not.
Right.
Because it's information I think that everyone should know.
Well, the feedback that I'm getting, for the most part, it is wonderful. It is wonderful. I have so many providers that are DMing me from all over the world. When I say Europe, I say Ghana. I mean, they're just everywhere. It's just an amazing thing to be able to help and teach other women and other parents. A lot of times, parents don't realize how daycare really goes.
Exactly.
And so Daycare Chronicles is teaching the parents and the providers.
Exactly. And that's the difference, I think, in what you do, is that you look at both sides of the lens. Like, not only do the parents need to be educated, but providers, you need information also.
Yes.
Wow.
For every issue that ever came up within my 29 years, I created a rule. Oh, this won't happen again.
Okay.
And so that's how your rule book comes along. That's how your policies come along. That's how you create your handbooks, your employee handbook, your parent handbook. For all of the things that come up and you be like, oh, okay, here's something new. Let me do that. And so and it's OJT. It's on the job training.
That's right.
Most of us have the same experiences because we deal with children. We deal with parents for the most part. My story is, no different than any other provider. But at the end of the day, it's how you handle it.
Right.
Some providers allow the parents just to run them over, and they're very soft. And I get that you want to be pleasant and you want to be happy, but if you're miserable because you have a client that's disrespectful or a client who's not gonna adhere to your rules, then that's a client you just don't need to keep. And trust me, that client will be replaced.
Absolutely.
With someone that will come in, will respect you, will love you, and will love the care that you're able to give to their child. So every child may not fit your program, every parent may not fit your program, and it's okay. It's okay to say no.
Right, and the thing that I see also in the way that you conduct your Instagram and your podcast is that you put loving boundaries in place, not just for yourself, but also for the parents and also especially for the children.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it has to be that way.
Yes.
And I think sometimes it's a key point that you said is that every parent is not going to fit into your daycare.
Right.
And every child.
That's right.
And so you have to set boundaries, understanding that lack is what will make people make bad decisions.
Absolutely.
Thinking that if there is an opening that they're going to miss something. Well, no, if there's an opening, that's because another person who fits your model specifically needs that placement.
That's right.
And whoever that parent and child is, they may need to be someplace else where that personality can be nurtured.
Yes.
Right?
Every marriage doesn't work. Right. Every school doesn't work.
That's right.
You may not like your doctor. You may not like the soda that you just had.
That's
you may
right.
want to try a different kind. Mm-hmm. That's just life. That's just how it goes. Right. And it's okay.
And it's okay.
It's okay. Because I don't want to be on the news.
Right. Right.
I tell providers that all the time. I don't want to see you on the news.
That's right.
That child and that parent, if they're stressing you out, they got to go.
That's right.
It's okay.
I don't want to be on the news.
No.
Not in that way.
No, not like that. Absolutely not.
Now, you're moving quickly because you've also written a book.
Yes, I have.
Daycare Chronicles 101.
Yes.
In book form.
Yes.
Now, most people take years before they decide, you know what, I think it's time for me to write a book. What I love and respect is that you moved quickly. Like, you were not letting the grass grow under your feet. You're like, okay, the podcast and the Instagram is taking off, and let me get this book underway.
Yes.
Right? And so when you decided to write the book, did you have anybody coach you or help you, or how did the book come together?
The book came about, I had a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. She says, you're doing the Chronicles every day.
Right.
Every day I do a little Chronicle.
Yes, you
every
do.
morning on Instagram. It's on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Mm-hmm. She's like, you need to put it in a book form.
Right.
And I said, I haven't thought about that. Right. And I was like, okay. There was a thought.
There was a thought.
Another thought.
Yes.
You act on these thoughts.
You act on them.
I figured it out. Mm-hmm. I reached out to some people, that I thought would be able to assist with the book or would not give me just a little bit of information. And it's unfortunate, but everyone doesn't like to share.
That's right. Lack mentality.
Yes.
You can't take from me what's meant to be mine.
That's right.
Right?
That's how I feel about all the information and knowledge that I share.
Yes.
It was meant for me to share it with you.
And you share a lot of information.
Yes, ma'am.
Freely.
Yes. So the book, within a few months, the book was done.
Yeah. Wow.
I took 101 of my chronicles and put it in the book. I have close to 200 chronicles now. Mm-hmm. And it's just everyday things that happen in daycare.
Right.
In a fun, loving, informative, comical way.
Exactly.
I've had parents tell me, I didn't realize I was that type of parent.
Right, because
I shouldn't be doing
the
that.
mirror. Right.
I have a new lady who DM'd me. I don't even know who she is on Instagram, and she's like, I'm expecting now, but I appreciate the fact that now I know how I need to act with daycare, how I need to, respond. Like, I want to be that good parent. Providers. They're sitting at their computers, got the book open, sending me pictures where they're changing their rules and regulations.
See? Yeah.
Where the book is really just assisting them and helping them to create better content for what they have and better relationships with their parents.
Right.
There's a way to say everything.
There's a way to say it. Yes.
And that's what it is.
Yes.
It's that tone, that temperament in the way you say something.
Yeah. That smile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, she can't come in here with them Cheetos, girl.
Right.
Give your mama back them Cheetos.
Right.
Know what I mean, girl? If you don't give your mama them Cheetos,
Right.
But it was the way that it was said.
That's right.
Yes. And she gives her moms the Cheetos, and we have a wonderful day. Come on in here and let's have a healthy breakfast.
Yeah.
It's the way in which you say and do things.
Right.
And your parents have to respect you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a provider that is coming to the door in rollers, your robe on, your music loud, and they're like, there's no respect there. Exactly.
Right.
No, you have to show them how you want to be treated.
Right.
Just like you have to show the world.
Exactly.
And the parents need to know that they need to respect your home. This is my home. I'm not center-based. I'm in a home. This is my home. And so this is how we're going to act here. I have parents that come in. I had a client come in. She was scantily, dressed. I said, you can't come in here like that. Respect.
Right.
And she understood. I said, let me go get your baby. Tomorrow when you come, you'll have on something that's decent. And unfortunately, that's the world that we live in nowadays.
That's right.
But she respected me for that. And when she came in, she was like, I thank you for that. So we're teaching all day long, every day.
Wow.
But the book is just amazing. I'm so proud of it. And here it is, you know.
Here it is.
Daycare Chronicles 101.
Yes. Now, now that you've created this space for yourself, because that's exactly what you did. You have expanded your territory.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so in that transition of being a daycare provider, an excellent daycare provider,
yes, ma'am.
and then creating the podcast and the Instagram following and now the book. Now that you've expanded your territory and you're transcending, right? What other things do you see that have come from it? Because I know, but I want our listening audience to know the other things that you're doing because you've expanded your territory, the other opportunities that it's affording you.
I feel like there's no limit to where I can go with Daycare Chronicles 101. One reason, there will always be children.
That's right.
There will always be someone that is needed to take care of the children.
Right.
There will always be parents.
Yes.
The need is never ending. It's going to be there. And I just see myself globally doing some big things with this. Teaching and training providers, teaching and training staff. Staff is a whole nother topic.
That's a whole other topic.
Teaching and training the staff, teaching the providers now. Sensory is such a big thing in daycare. And we're seeing a lot of children come into family daycare that are on the spectrum, from ADHD to autism, Asperger's.
Yes.
So it's just really challenging sometimes for us as daycare providers because we're seeing them at younger ages and they're really not diagnosed until they're 3.
That's
right. But they're coming through daycare and we're seeing these things.
Right.
And so through my podcast, I had a representative from the regional center come out. And I didn't know that a child could be dual diagnosed, triple diagnosed. So sometimes you'll see this child and you're like, there's something there, but I just can't pinpoint it. So you don't say anything to the parent.
Right.
Well, that's a child that may be dual diagnosed or triple diagnosed. If you see something, say something.
Yes.
You know, so I just see that Daycare Chronicles is going to be around for a very long time. I see TV shows, I see movies, I see more books coming, I see me speaking around the world on this. Because I am a provider.
Yes.
You know, you have some that may have gone to college and gotten a degree, but they've never been in the classroom.
Right.
They've never, really had hands-on with the children. You don't really understand and know what's going on.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Now, there's a woman watching this, and she's at the beginning, a young woman, she's at the beginning of her career.
Yes.
What is some advice? She's trying to find her path. What is some advice that you would give her?
Number 1 would be listen to that voice.
Yes.
Listen to that thought.
I like that.
Because that is God talking to you. He's giving you that thought. He sees something in you. Secondly, know that fear. It's okay.
Yes.
To have that fear. Fear is necessary. It is essential.
It really is.
Fear is what will either hold you back or push you to do what you need to do.
That's right.
The third thing is you have to act on it. You know, we're taught faith without works is dead.
It's dead.
Well, you can pray all you want, but if you're not going to go out there and do anything, what do you think is going to happen?
Absolutely nothing.
You have to work it.
That's right.
So you have to have enough faith and belief in yourself. And with that fear, this was fear. Because I had no idea. This was unknown territory to me.
Right.
But it's here.
It's here.
It's here.
That's right.
It's here. So I just say have enough faith within yourself and with God to know that He's not going to give you a thought without helping you through it. Because He helped me through this.
That's right. I love those. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I'm sure in the daycare business, there are peaks and valleys. You know, times that daycare providers, like you said in the beginning, they may want to quit. They're like, you know what?
Oh, yeah.
I have something to offer, but I'm in this valley, Yes. You know, what is something that you would say to encourage someone who is there that is a great provider,
right,
that has the heart for it, but she's in that space, or she or he is in that space where they don't know whether they want to move forward?
A lot of times it's the seclusion. Daycare providers are so secluded.
That's true.
We're with the children all day. We don't have much adult conversation.
Yes.
So you have to reach out, join other support groups, join the NAEYC, the SCAEYC, you know, the National Association of Young Child. You know, do things like that. Try to network with other providers so that you have a support system.
Right.
And also, if you're a provider who has like low enrollment, there are things that you can do. Mm-hmm. In order to help yourself with that.
Right.
I encourage providers all the time. Go on Yelp, go on Google, put your profile up. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people, everyone has a cell phone in their hand.
Everyone.
And that's usually what they use as their search engine.
That's right.
Right there. And to not give up, if it's something you really, really want, research and see, okay, what can I do better?
Right.
Call your resource and referral department. Ask them, you know, I'm not getting that many calls in my area. Why is that? You know, what's the need in my area? Right. You may need to change it. Maybe you're just doing 0 to 2. Maybe you need to add on school-age children. It just depends.
Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, we're self-employed. Even though we work for the parent, we're still self-employed. Mm-hmm. So we want our stream of income to, you know, be
consistent
all the time.
Yeah.
But there are times when sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to roll with the peaks and the valleys as well, because those can be a trial for you. That can just be a trial.
Well, it's something you said in that when you said the isolation, the thinking you're alone, and I think another reason Daycare Chronicles 101 is so popular is because parents and providers realize they're not alone.
Right.
Because you're talking about things that are significant to both.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of times, I'm sure, because I do it and I don't have small children, I'm like, wow, you know, she's right, or wow, I hope providers are listening to this, or wow, parents, are you checking this out, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because everyone in their space feels alone or isolated.
Yeah.
And you are the bridge to bring all of that together.
Yes. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
I definitely know what it's like. You get so caught up in your day-to-day. And providers, I try to tell them to switch it up. Mm-hmm. When you switch things up in your facility, in your home, and you put up different centers, change it up. Mm-hmm. Because the children, it becomes redundant to them. And they want to see something different, you know? And then you'll see a different response from them. Because they feed off of our energy and we feed off of their energy.
That's very true.
You know? So I will never come to the door like, good morning. No, not at all. Hey, good morning, how are you? Come on in here.
Right.
That's every day.
Wow. 29 years.
Yes.
Every single
every day. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And that is a key to success, and that is one of the reasons that you're sitting here, is because you have mastered this forum. You have mastered it. And
yes, ma'am.
There are hundreds of thousands and millions of people who need to hear what you have to say. Now, I want to go to the transition part, because the space that you're in now, that you've created this amazing platform to stand on now to help more people. I want you to give 3 pieces of encouragement to that provider or that woman who is in a business office or in the kitchen at a restaurant, and it's not her restaurant, right? Or she's sitting at a desk and it's not her financial firm, and she's sitting somewhere watching this, and she's saying, God, I want to increase my territory. What are 3 pieces of advice you would give that woman who's listening and saying, I want to increase my territory? Miss Tanya, Charlene, how do I do that? What are 3 pieces of advice you would give her?
I would say, number 1, listen to your inner thoughts.
Yes.
Because those thoughts that you have are what you need to be acting on.
Yes.
Number 2, you cannot just sit idly.
No.
You have to make some moves. Even if it's the unknown, you still do your research and you make some moves. At this moment, I'm trying to get my book in Barnes & Nobles. So I email Barnes & Noble. I have an appointment. You know? So if you don't do anything, then nothing will ever come of it.
Right.
And thirdly, you will have those that are not going to be happy for you. Yes. Let them be your encouragement.
Yes.
Let them be your encouragement to push harder. Mm-hmm. So if you're somewhere where you know that you just feeling it inside that there's something more to come out of you, mm-hmm. you gotta do something with it.
Yes.
You cannot sit idly, because next thing you know, somebody else did what you're talking about. And that was some advice that was given to me. If you don't do the Daycare Chronicles, if you don't do the podcast, you're going to look up and in a month somebody else is going to have it.
That's absolutely right. Because God's plan for the whole universe cannot be pegged on the fact that he gave you that thought and you didn't step out on it.
That's right.
Because he will give that thought to someone else and they will step out on it. Right?
Yes. And one other thing, too, just came to me. Know that you are worthy.
Worthy.
You are worthy to receive everything that you're thinking. Yes. Everything that you may have in your mind, you're worthy.
Yes.
So what if you don't have a college degree? So what if you didn't finish high school? So what?
Right.
You are still worthy.
That's right.
Know your self-worth.
Oh, I love that. Miss Tanya, this has been amazing. This is amazing. Now, what's next for you?
Listen, I just want to be booked. I want to be booked. I want to be traveling. Okay?
Exactly.
I want to just be able to go and just share and spread the information and the knowledge that I have, that I am still learning. You know, children are, like I said, they're going to be here. Parents are going to be here. There's always going to be a need for daycare.
Yes.
And with the society that we live in today, we must protect our children.
We have to protect them.
We must protect our children. And so I say a lot, if a child doesn't, meet your program, then, you just tell the parents you can't, meet their needs, then they need to go, find other alternate care. And that's okay. Because we must protect them. And a lot of times we see things and we're mandated reporters.
That's right.
And I'm going to tell you, I have to report this.
Yes. Yes.
That's a hard thing to do. And this is out of love.
That's right.
Because being a mandated reporter, if you don't report it, then you're going to get in trouble.
That's right.
So when I have a child come tell me something, I'm going to speak to the parent about it. But if it's something that's horrific, I got to tell it.
Yes.
Our children have to be protected.
Yes. Yes. Well, you know what, Miss Tanya? You are definitely the person to protect the children, educate the parents, educate the providers, and make this world a much better place for us all. So I want to thank you for being here. This has been an amazing interview.
I have enjoyed myself. I have.
Good. So you'll come back because I want to hear about all your bookings. And your million followers and all that goes along with what you created.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We absolutely love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, you guys got a lot of information. Miss Tanya has shared her heart, her spirit, her soul, her education, all of her experiences. So there is no excuse for you sitting on that couch any longer, and you need to get started. So this is Girl Talk, and as usual, we've had a wonderful guest. Thank you. We'll see you soon.